This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeremy Wolf.
Good.
Michael Cunniff. Good to see you, brother. How you been?
I have been well, man. I'm telling you, I have been looking forward to this for some time since the last time we were on, but we weren't in person, right?
We were not, and this is a very special occasion. Out of 320 plus episodes of the Good Neighbor Podcast, this marks the first episode in person at a live studio. Thanks to this man right here. We are shout out to Mike. He's a great man.
He's a gem. What a gem.
Yes.
Well, I'm happy to have you here. Obviously, because we do so much of the remote stuff, it is good to have it in person. It was kind of one of those things where like people wanted to only do in person, and then we got into the hybrid of the two. So I'm just super excited to have you here, and we're going to roll together.
It's going to be fun, man.
Yeah.
And another thing I'd like to say is that out of all those 320 plus episodes we've done, never had a repeat guest until today. So you should feel honored.
I do.
You are the first repeat guest of the Good Neighbor Podcast.
Yeah, you know,
Congratulations.
I feel honored, but above and beyond that, you have had a lot of friends of mine on your podcast. You've interviewed them, and I appreciate that because they have come back and said how that impacted them, you know, and how it helped their business.
That's great to hear.
So it's one of those things that we don't really get to see and feel it afterwards, but I can tell you with sincerity that everyone who's been on your podcast absolutely loved it. All right, so let's dive in. You ready?
Yeah, no,
All
I will
right.
say one thing about that. Like, there's speak to so many business owners out there, and they're living in the shadows, right? It's all like you have to connect with your customers somehow, and you got to be authentic. And the best way to do that is to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
It's something I've learned for myself throughout my journey, and I'm getting more and more comfortable the more I do this. So, I want to start with something. Everybody that's been following my content for a while knows I like to say that I've been doing a lot of personal growth and development and spiritual work on the north side of 40. And I've been putting in a lot of work over the last 5 or 6 years, and I haven't really been seeing the results until recently. Something happened recently where I had a back injury. I was having a rough year, and I hurt my back. And I got very depressed, and I was laid out and couldn't do anything, couldn't work. And I was in a dark place, and something happened towards the end of that. I had a little flash of light that came into my world, and I saw hope at the other side of that. And it made me realize that everything is not permanent. And that propelled me, something inside me. And I knew I needed to be out there more and making content and sharing content. And as I explored this more and kind of went deeper inside my mind, I realized that a lot of what I was doing in terms of the marketing and the business was coming from the wrong place. I was coming from a place of scarcity and not a place of abundance. And it got me thinking about the mindset as that applies to marketing and how so many business owners out there struggle with their mindset. I speak to countless business owners that tell me, Jeremy, I've tried all sorts of marketing. Nothing works. I grow my business through word of mouth and referrals. Clearly, marketing works, right? The question is, why does it work for one business and not for the other? So today I want to dig into these topics, and we're going to do a bunch of different segments. But I have a master here. Mike's been doing marketing for quite longer than I have. So I really want to pick his brain and get some insights and kind of share with you guys what I've learned on my personal journey. So with that being said, I want to ask you, why do you think it is that marketing would work for one business and not for the other?
Well, I'll start by saying that it is extremely important to understand like scarcity model and that scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
All right. I think it goes above and beyond sales. It bleeds into lifestyle. I think when you have an approach of gratitude, I think it creates more opportunity. Out of opportunity comes abundance. Right. And we start to move away from the scarcity model and toward the abundance model, right? Understanding that we can attract things toward our life. Now, I'm not going to be the guy who's going to tell you that you could, manifest $1 million. It's not going to happen, but you can manifest the good behaviors that can get you toward your goal, right? I've said for a long time that a goal can fail, but a strategy can scale. So oftentimes people are emotionally tied to a lot of things. So if you're in a scarcity model, you're going to be emotionally tied to your goals. So if your goal is to say post every day on social media, and then you're not able to follow through on that goal, it's like a personal thing. So now not only are you working in a scarcity model where you're a bit concerned where your next deal is going to come from, or your next lead or your next paycheck, right, is going to come from, it gets you a little nervous. Concerned, emotions rise. But if you approach it with strategy, then you can shift the strategy.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like a recipe. I've said before, if I wrote the recipe and created the recipe and it's my family recipe and then you don't like it, I feel kind of bad about that, emotionally tied to that, right? But if we were to just look at the recipe and I were to ask you how you feel about that, you can strategize the recipe to be better next time. It might not be personal, right? You might not want a ton of sugar in your thing. You might not want a certain salt or whatever that may be. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is you have to kind of mold and model your marketing toward the person or your end result, your end client, like who that is. So I think it's important to have consistency, to have gratitude, and to lean into the things that are benefiting your business the most. I think that's how you move away from scarcity and move into abundance.
100%.
Yeah.
Great stuff there. And
thank you.
One of the things that occurred to me recently that helped me with my shift of mindset is I was having a conversation with a friend, and I was talking about how I had another conversation, and I kind of showed up to this particular discussion with the mindset, and it wasn't a sales conversation, but it was, a collaboration, trying to figure out if I could help in some way. And I approached it from a different lens. It wasn't there trying to speak from on high and dictate and tell him what to do. I showed up with curiosity. I listened. I really, really listened. And I tried to see how I could help. What could I do to help? And I after that conversation, I realized, what if I took those principles and actually applied that to my day-to-day, not just in conversations, not just with my wife, but like every interaction that I have with any person anywhere. What would happen in my life if I started doing that? And so I gave it a try, and it's almost like, and you said you don't want to talk about woo-woo stuff, it's like magic starts to happen.
Yeah.
And I think if you operate in that way in all that you do, and you come from a place of authenticity and you truly believe that, what tends to happen is that opportunity starts knocking on your door, and you just start manifesting.
That's it. I'm 100% into that. So I like to get away from the ideas that like it's magic. It feels like magic, and it makes you feel so good, right?
It's not magic.
But you can't call it magic, right? You have to dial into what that actually is, and that's what we're doing. That's actually what we're doing today. And I think, first off, I got to give you a fist bump, right? Because I think as adults, first and foremost, and then we go more into two men having a conversation. It's not always easy. I just said the other day, I mean, it's tough sport being a man. It's tough sport. It really is. And I'm telling you, you think I'm being, a typical guy. I'm really not. There are a lot of things that go into each day that men do not share, and do not put out there. You ask a friend, how you doing? Great. It's always the answer you're going to get. I don't think I'm ever going to. I'll never tell you like, oh, I'm doing horrible. It's terrible. Which, in most cases you're not. And if you need help, you reach out and you ask for help. Yeah. But if you're right on that margin of like, I want to talk to somebody, men don't really do that, And you said something that you started being more intentional with the things that you were doing and your habits, right? 100%. Which led you more clarity in the things that you want.
Unbelievable.
So you're able
clarity.
To manifest that, and you were able to utilize that in your day to day. You said most specifically with your partner, with your wife, it's absolutely incredible how sales mirror life and lifestyle. Oftentimes people think there's like this serious psychology to it. There's always psychology to every sale, but it's not a manipulative psychology. It's a simple set of standards and things that you can do every day. Consistency. We go back to that. These consistent things that you can do day in and day out.
Consistent habits,
right?
Compound tremendously in short periods of time.
Yeah, it could be something, and I'll get away from the sales. It could be something as simple as maybe picking up the house when you get home and not realizing that little simple thing might help your wife to have a better day, or vice versa. She might pick up something for you.
Speaking of that, let me go on a tangent here, because this is powerful stuff.
Yeah.
I had this hernia. I still have pain through my leg. It's a L5, S1 lumbar disc pain, whatnot. And I took my son to Chick-fil-A the other day, and the leg started throbbing. And all I wanted to do was get home and lay down. And I was at Chick-fil-A, and often in the past, the pain would hijack me, and I would go down that rabbit hole. And I felt myself kind of getting sucked back in to my old identity, this scarcity mindset identity. And instead of getting worried about it and afraid, I engaged it. And I actually checked with GPT and started curiously approaching it with curiosity, asking it to like, what's going on here from a physiological standpoint, from a psychological standpoint. And what happened was I felt at ease. I was like, okay, this will pass. It gave me some cool grounding exercises. It explained that wasn't the time for productivity. That wasn't the time for insight. That was the time for reflection and grounding. So I went home and I noticed the kitchen was dirty. I really wanted to go upstairs and go to sleep, but my wife had mentioned before she went to the gym that she'll take care of it when she gets home. I made a decision at my mom. I said, I'm not a man that leaves these things for my wife. I want her to come home to a clean house. So I cleaned the kitchen. Something magical happened in doing that. Through the cleaning of the kitchen, the pain subsided. And when I was done, not only did I not want to go upstairs and lay down, I wanted to go work, and the creativity, the insights started streaming back. So like just to speak to how this translates to running and owning a business, when you get your house in order and you get your mind right, this stuff translates and you start getting downloads and insights. It's really incredible. I know you said you can't call it magic, but it feels really magical.
Can I share something with you?
Please.
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching. You're going to run this back, and you're going to see. We can see ourselves on a monitor over here, and you're going to see me listening to him, and you're going to see my smile start to get bigger and bigger. Right? I'm going through the exact same thing you're going through. I play hockey. There was a week I played 4 games in 1 week. One of them was at the Amarant. And I had something happen with one of the players, and my leg had kind of gone backwards, the opposite direction that I was skating. Flash. I saw a flash, and I didn't go to the ice. This guy was chirping me. I'm just like, stop talking to me. Like there's something wrong. And I went to the bench, and my lower back, my lumbar, I could barely move. I even continued playing the hockey game. I now have the same numbness going down the side of my leg here. I've learned about how it's interconnected to your pelvis. I won't go off on a tangent because that's not what this is about right now. But you and I have an extremely similar scenario, and we never talked about this like prior to going into this. So I'm fascinated to hear you say it because I'm going through something similar. And if we're sitting next to each other and don't even know that, so that goes along with talking and putting it out there. I'm sure there's people that are going to watch this that are going to have kind of the same feeling, that are getting into this and saying, man, I'm just getting old, or I'm not. You just got moving. You got moving again, and you feel better.
Yeah, as long as it's not emergency pain, right?
Yeah.
If you're in pain that requires medical attention, obviously,
right.
So much of the pain and the suffering that we face, it's unnecessary suffering, right? You don't need to. I'm learning every day how to leverage discomfort, whether it's pain, stress, anxiety, and use it as a tool for growth. And when you do that, you change your mindset around it, it just feeds into everything else.
So
it's really...
how is this showing up in your day-to-day content?
So recently started. So I realized that I've been through, I'll be 46 soon. So I've been through the blender, had tons of life experiences. Good,
there's
bad,
people that
ugly.
are going to see this that are going to be like, "Are you kidding? You're like young. You're a whippersnapper."
But I've always had like all these little flashes of insight, all these ideas, all these things stored inside my head. And there's always been a lack of clarity and kind of funk around it. And trying to access it has always been a problem. And it's bled over into every way I showed up as a human being. And this thing with the back injury, I say it's the best thing that's ever happened to me because of the clarity I have now. When I was able to reframe that in my mind, it's like the floodgates opened and all of these insights. And I said to myself, I need to share some of this with humanity. If what I'm saying could help one person out there, I need to get it out there. And so I made that Instagram video. I don't know if you, so just me talking about these things.
I follow along. I see it all. I love it.
And that was like the start of it. And I was still unclear. Like I do marketing. I wasn't happy doing marketing. My clients weren't happy. Nothing was really going well. And I was looking for an escape plan. And through this, I realized I thought maybe I needed to pivot and not do this anymore. I had never really defined my life's purpose. I had never really thought about why I'm on this earth. And it became crystal clear to me, I'm here to help people, right? And what's the best way to do that? Well, I'm already in a business helping people with marketing. And once I changed the frame around what I was trying to do and stopped thinking about making money and this whole scarcity mindset and just taking the pressure off that and saying, okay, how can I show up, listen, and help and be of service? Everything shifted for me. It was really profound. And I'm going through it every day. And this is like recent. I'm talking like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll leave us on something. I think this will round the corner on episode 1. I think we're bringing about 9 episodes into this. You should be able to see it in a full format. So you might be watching it in full format, or you might be watching the first part of this episode, and you can move on to episode number 2. I'm going to end episode number 2 with us on something I saw the other day. Measure your success based on how much fun you're having. Measure your success based on how much fun you're having.
Wise words.
All right. Let's move on. Mindset, I think we're coming up with next, right? Let's move on to mindset. We're back with mindset. What an awesome first episode.
That was fun, man.
Yeah.
I really wanted, the reason why I wanted to do this was, and the reason I reached out to you was because I really wanted to take some of these life principles that I'm experiencing right now, this transformation I'm going through, and apply it through the lens of marketing.
Right.
And This is what you do. This is what I do. So I thought no better place to do it. And it's funny, a lot of the marketing principles, a lot of the stuff about marketing are fueled by these things, and they don't work properly unless you have the fundamentals down in terms of like what's in between your ears.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, talking about marketing as a mirror, if you have your business running and you don't have your own life in order and things are chaotic and you're not showing up properly in your own life, and then you're out there every day doing your job wearing a mask and pretending that everything's fine, that is going to bleed through in every aspect of your business, certainly so in your marketing. And I think that speaks to what we were talking about in the last segment, about why certain marketing plays work for one business and not the other. The same messaging might work for one and not the other. It's because it's mirroring, and it seems crazy, but man, it's true. You know?
Yeah, I agree. Now, the marketing is a mirror. It's true, because in our first episode, we're talking about the scarcity mindset versus the mindset of abundance, right? And that does bleed into the type of content you're creating. You had also mentioned ChatGPT, and I'm sure as we continue to speak, we're going to delve into ChatGPT a little bit more as a tool and how it can help you to service your day, to be better at your day. I've been telling top professionals and sales professionals, keep the bandwidth in your head. You have a very limited amount of time. You might be leading a team. You might have fires you're putting out or trying to cross the finish line on deals. So use ChatGPT to keep that bandwidth. So we're talking about marketing as a mirror and how it reflects kind of internally with you as a business owner. And if you're approaching videos from this perspective of like, all right, here, I'm going to do it. Okay, my name is Michael, and I'm here to talk to you about marketing today. And marketing is really cool, and I know that you can help your business with it. You can tell my tone has changed. I even have to shake it off after that. That's not me. That's not the way I speak. It's not how I help other people in my day-to-day, right? And when I first came on to this type of scenario, I've been doing this for 20 years now. I'm a billion-dollar brand maker. I hate to say that. I've seen it out there. Dude, 10 of my clients do over 500 million a year in business. It's incredible, right? And I don't share that out on the internet, but there is a huge difference between the person who's doing X amount versus crossing the threshold at 500 million plus a year. And if I have multiple clients in multiple industries that do this, there's something that these clients do differently than other people that are out there. And I think it's extremely important to bring your tone into it. So as you came in this morning, you noticed that everyone's kind of shooting videos around the office here. One leader's coming in with presents as we're doing a toy drive. Another leader is over here. They were working on skits. So they were doing kind of a skit that was popular online that works for him. So as opposed to that leader being like, are you interested in health insurance? He's going to find a fun and interesting way that's going to mirror his tone and personality and style and create content for that. The same thing with leader May Rojas, she wanted to do something that was a little more cinematic, told her story. So I think when you're not mirroring your tone and voice and what really drives you in business, it shows immediately. It's like a tell, right?
100%.
And then you cross into the threshold of being an actor. And we're not actors. We're sales professionals, we're coaches, we're leaders, we're parents, we're loved ones, we're all these things, but we're not that first, we're not like that. So I just want to let you know that that if you're going to get anything going marketing wise, and I always say market for sales. You don't just market just to market. You've got to market for sales. Make sure you're mirroring your tone and style and who you are as a person.
So you've been doing this quite some time.
20 years, man.
And you're a natural, and I see how you work with businesses and you help coach them through this. But I want you to speak for a second to the business owners out there, because I deal with so many of them that are tied up in their head with this idea of perfection, that they're not putting something out there. They don't want to put the content out there because of what you just said. They're going to sound scripted. They're going to sound inauthentic. But the truth of the matter is, the only way to get comfortable doing this is by doing it. So what would you say to an owner out there that doesn't feel comfortable? They say they have that voice in their mind like, oh, I would never get behind a camera.
Well, I got this.
That's not me, right? That's not my business.
I got this. And keep in mind, nothing that we're talking about was scripted ahead of time. We had a conversation for an outline, but we didn't really know what we were going to talk about in the nuts and bolts. So for this, if I'm speaking directly to a business owner or a top professional or a sales pro or a top producer, whatever those might be, because oftentimes if you're a top producer within an industry, you are kind of a business owner as well. So I want to speak to all of those people, and I want you to go back to the rookie mindset. I want you to go back to when you first started. Go back to when you first got in the industry. You weren't afraid to pick up the phone. You weren't afraid to smile and dial. You weren't afraid to walk up to somebody and shake their hand and meet them. You weren't afraid to put yourself out there and maybe look a little silly. And that's how you do the rookie mindset. You get out there, you get going, right? And then what happens is at some point along the way, we take ourselves just a little bit too seriously.
Yep.
Right? We believe that like we have to be this polished, perfect person. Okay. When you're a rookie and you don't know anything, you run right out of the door. Right? You're not worried about it. You're not scared. But as you learn more, you get a little bit nervous because you understand like the pitfalls of business and how maybe another business professional might speak of you, or maybe another industry peer might talk about you. So we get nervous, right? That we're going to put ourselves out there.
Stories we tell ourselves.
Exactly. So I would say the short of it, so that I don't keep on the tangent, is I had a room full of people. There was 50 people in the room, and I had the leader at the front of the room, and I had the other 49 were on there at the table at the conference rooms, and they were sitting, and I asked, who likes to post to social media every single day? Everyone. No, I don't like to post to social media every day. Who does post to social media? Oh, sorry, I yelled that. Who does post to social media every single day? Guess whose hand went up? Out of 50 in a room, did the 49 agents go up, or did the leader's hand go up?
You tell me.
The leader's hand went up. He posts to social media every day.
Of course.
Now I asked him the same question. Do you like social media? No. I don't like social media.
Doesn't ever go on it and look at anything.
Doesn't matter.
Uses it as a vehicle.
Right.
Uses it as a vehicle.
I schedule my media days. I batch my content. I post consistently.
Part of the strategy we talked about.
That's it. Yep. So that's who I'm speaking to. Is I want you to think about like the rookie mindset that you had when you were young, and you just break out of the door and it did not matter. I could walk into a room full of people and speak to them. It was okay. But as you move throughout your career, you get a little bit colder toward that style. I would say bring the fun back. So if you listen to episode 1, it was whatever you do, make sure you're having fun with it. And that's part of it, is bring back the rookie mindset, have a good time, poke a little bit of fun at yourself. Humility is extremely important on social media. And I've never met a salesperson, a top level salesperson or business owner in my life that doesn't have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Every person who excels in sales has a crazy good sense of humor.
Yeah.
Childlike sense of wonder. Even if they're not the funniest people on the planet, they're able to keep you at ease, to keep you smiling, to keep you nodding, to keep you going. Interesting, right?
I think an important component also, something I've been learning, is the idea of vulnerability, right? We're all showing up in our lives and we're all wearing masks to some degree, putting on a performance. And the way to, from my experience, to eliminate those masks is to open up. And I think a lot of people are missing community, a sense of connection. Everybody is so plugged in nowadays with the phones.
We feel like we're all connected, right?
But we're not.
No.
There's no human connection. What I found in the men's work I've done, getting together with groups of guys, like, doesn't matter what level you're at. You could have the most successful people in the world, hundreds of millions of dollars. They still have their shit. They still have problems. They still have stuff going on. And I think when you're able to open up about these things, it really makes you more clear. It makes you stronger. It makes you more human. And that's what resonates with your audience. People don't want perfection because they're not perfect. They want vulnerability. They want to see flaws. And that's why the best content out there are the people that are just authentic. And there's something about that. There's like a hidden magic that draws you in when you see somebody that's truly coming from a place of authenticity, where they're just an open book. Like, I don't know, you know Joe Gondera?
No.
He's just a great guy, does a lot of work with brothers, does a lot of courses, a lot of training with men. The first thing I noticed about him, you as well, is this vulnerability. It's just, I am an open book. What you see is what you get. There are no masks. This is how I show up in my daily life with my family. This is how I show up when I meet somebody for business. And that resonated with me on such a deep level and gave me like the warm and fuzzies. And I just realized that that's how you want to operate in this world.
Yeah. Now, irregardless of religion, I want to throw something in the mix. I think every single religion says no perfect people allowed. I don't think there's any religion on the planet where they're like, you got to be perfect to be here. You don't. You literally come in with flaw, right? That's the whole point. So I want you guys to think about that. We're not going to go into to theology and religion and everything else, but I want you to think about it. There's kind of an irony there in that there's power and purpose, and that there's no perfect people allowed. So think about that. There's a parallel, right?
Absolutely.
Sales and life. Sales and life. So let's keep going. We have another topic here. Let's get into our next topic. So we're doing marketing as a mirror.
These all bleed into each other. Let's see, where are we at?
Let me ask you a question. So avoidance and inconsistency, overthinking, that perfection, it can kill momentum. So like we were talking about like how perfection can kill your ability to get moving. But let's say you are already moving. How does that stuff affect your momentum? Does it slow you down, speed you up? What does it do?
So avoidance, inconsistency, and
so the question we have here, because we
sorry
did
guys,
prepare.
I got stuck in my own head for a second.
We're
not perfect
because we're having a good conversation, right? And I hope you guys at home are too. And this is a good opportunity for you to drop a comment or to tell us what you want to hear us talk about, or if any of this stuff's resonating with you, please comment, share. So what we're saying is like avoidance and inconsistency, overthinking, that perfection mindset that we were just talking about. How does that kill momentum? Like, what does that do to momentum? Does it kill it? Does it crush it? Slow it down? What does it do?
Of course, it kills it. It stops you in your tracks. It makes you freeze. What you need to do is just be decisive and act and move forward. If there's a thing that you know you need to do and you don't want to do it, the longer you ruminate with that, the more it's going to stop you in your tracks. You just do the thing that you're going to do. And for me, it's like I recently started really structuring a calendar system that was like, if it's on my calendar, it will get done. I'm not perfect with it, but that helps a lot. So if you're struggling with organization, that's another thing. I speak to tons of business owners. They're all over the place, Mike.
Yeah.
Like they don't have it. Like get a system together and document everything on the calendar and get in the habit of when it tells you what to do, you just do it. Then you don't have to think about it. You're cutting out the hard work. Right? The thing pops up. It's like you need to make a cold call, whatever it is. You're going to cold call. You're doing cold calling. Nobody likes cold calling. Block it off in your calendar. Get in the habit of doing it. When it pops up, you do the thing. And actually reminds me of a quote that I heard from Chris Williams. It wasn't Chris Williamson's quote, but he said it from another quote on the Modern Wisdom podcast. And this has become really relevant in my life right now. And the quote is this: it's the magic you've been looking for is in the work you've been avoiding. And when I heard that quote, I was like, okay, sure. It didn't hit. It just didn't land at that time. I heard the words, but I didn't hear the words. I didn't embody what it was saying. And these last couple of weeks, it just hit me. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
it's so true. It's so right.
Yeah, this isn't rabbit out of a hat magic. This is life-changing magic.
It really is.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. I think that's awesome. Well, we're rounding the corner on another episode here. Again, if you're watching this in its entirety, we're going to flow into the next one. But we appreciate you watching this. Don't forget, there is a 1. This is number 2. We're going to flow into number 3. We're going to talk about right message, wrong mental state, and a little bit of consistency versus inspiration. So we're happy to have you here. We're going to keep it rolling, and let's go. I appreciate you sharing that because I have been going through those same issues. Not the same. Listen, I don't want to say the same because when you tell someone that you're going through the same thing they're going through, it really minimizes their stuff because I don't really know exactly what he's going through. But it has been hurting. So we've got mind over matter, back pain.
Yeah,
we're starting. We're actually starting number 3.
Speaking of back pain, if you're suffering, I didn't read it yet, but somebody that I respect recommended a book called Mind Over Back Pain by John Sarno. I just ordered it on Amazon. I'm going to read that because I think this speaks to what I talked about earlier about leveraging pain to your advantage. And I really wanted to dig into that. So just a plug for John Sarno, whoever you are.
Let's go.
Hope you're doing well
we're already starting with a shout out, John Sarno. And I think that this is extremely important, the title of what you said there, because we're going to talk about the right message and the wrong mental state. We're going to get you to dig into that a little bit. And then consistency versus inspiration. So we are doing a series here. It's going to be a full series, probably about an hour and a half in its totality. But we're at series number 3. We're at part 3 of this. So as we're diving in, if you feel like you're a little behind, you can go back and watch episode 1 and 2. And you might be watching this in a full format. So we'll just keep rolling into the next episodes. But yeah, let's keep us going. What do we got going on here?
Let's get the magic list out here. So right message, wrong mental state. I mean, these things are all connected.
Yeah.
And
right message, wrong mental state. Have you been in that situation before? Not being preachy, we're not like tell us your story. I'm just want to get like the mindset going and the mind flowing to maybe some situations or relationships that you've had and how this might affect it. So yeah, we're gonna dive in. I feel like this is gonna be deeper than the first 2. Right.
We're gonna have to uncover the depth because I'm grasping. Speaking of being on camera, right? It's like I'm looking for the story to say. This is gonna have to evolve organically.
Yeah.
So you have to walk down the line with me here, and this is me in real time figuring this out. Again, really just a couple of questions and notes here.
That's what a podcast and an interview is. It's an opportunity for us to sit down and talk. If you're ever interested in doing one of these, don't forget you have access to the Good Neighbor podcast. If you're local to South Florida, you can come and sit with me. So we do have a bit of an outline, which is great, keeps us on topic, but none of this is scripted. So let's dive in.
Yes. Okay. So why good marketing executed from fear, scarcity, or ego usually repels instead of attracts? What do you think, Mike?
You can see me get all put off, right? I told you guys to think of a few things or a few people, and I'm sure that people are going to be watching this that are going to know I'm thinking about them. It always translates, right? If you're a bad actor, you're a bad actor. If you're a good actor, you're a good actor.
Yeah.
A lot of actors do things that connect with people. You could be a villain. You could be a really good person. You can do all of these things as an actor. Actors go to school to do that. They learn how to do that. Salespeople don't. And it reads all over your face when you're having a tough time. Or maybe you're not getting along as well with the team. Or the leads aren't flowing like they used to. Or the deals aren't closing like they were before. That connects back to the previous episode we were talking about with the rookie mindset. But this is different. Because you're a leader, you're an owner, you're a person that has mouths to feed. It is just as serious as I'm making it, because you're taking it just as seriously. You're the person who's like got the chip on the shoulder, or is presenting in a way that feels egotistical, or look at me,
yes.
or I've been doing this. Like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years. I kind of cringe. Most people don't know I've been doing this for 20 years. People think I just started last week, You
look like you're in your 20s.
Exactly, 42. Some people say billion-dollar brand maker. How do you do billion-dollar brands? You should be a multimillionaire. Well, I never share these things. So I think it's important to keep the childlike sense of wonder, to keep the rookie mindset and mentality, to really put yourself in the shoes of the people who you're putting food on their plate. You're helping their lives to be better, so you have to understand them. The same way you have to understand your consumer, you have to understand your teammates. It's extremely important. So if you're able to understand those two things, you can be a better actor when you're creating content and marketing. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And I love how you kind of mentioned sales, and because marketing, sales, right? We're trying to speak to clients, and ultimately we're trying to better their lives with our products and services. But I want to speak to business owners out there that sell their product and service. How many times do you go through your presentation or pitch or whatever it is, and you get to the end and it's time to talk about money, and all of a sudden things get a little bit weird, right? It just gets awkward. I was like that for so long.
What's the difference between a salesperson and a closer? A salesperson and a closer. You guys know the difference? Comment. What's the difference between a salesperson and a closer?
The difference between a salesperson and a closer. It's an interesting question.
A closer knows when to stop talking and ask for the money. A salesperson's going to keep talking themselves right out of a sale. Have you ever heard of that? You ever heard like a salesperson talking themselves out of a sale? That's the difference between a salesperson and a closer. Have we covered everything today, Mrs. Johnson? Because if we have, it's time to cross the threshold and do business together, right? It's a relationship. Most people don't understand. You asked your wife out on a date. You had to get her to go on a date. Imagine if you never asked for that date.
Yeah.
And you just talked and talked and talked. And we've all been in that shoes. So some men are going to think of their last date or the last time they're like, oh man, that was me. I was talking her ear off until midnight. Stop talking so much. Know when you've provided enough information and when to ask for the sale, because you're asking for a relationship. You're not asking for money. The money is the byproduct of the relationship. Does that make sense? 100%. So if any of you guys don't know, so now I'm going to ask again, what's the difference between a closer and a salesperson?
Well, a salesperson doesn't know when to shut up. A closer knows when to listen and close the deal. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And many sales trainings, or at least with a lot of companies, they're heavy on like the pitch. It's like 80% pitch and 20% of the rest of it. It's like it's the completely opposite, right? Like people want to talk about themselves. If you're there selling something, you don't want to be talking about your product yourself. You need to understand the person's situation, what they're doing, what they're trying to accomplish, what are their goals, like what long-term vision, like why are they on, I alluded to it earlier, right? Why are you on this planet? What is your mission on this life? I think so many business owners out there are unhappy because they don't have that defined, and they're doing something that's not aligned with whatever their purpose would be.
Right.
And once you get clear on that, things start to align. Yeah. And that comes through in these conversations. So if you get to the end of a conversation, you're feeling awkward when you're negotiating and transacting and going through all these processes, you're doing something wrong. You're not listening. You're not there. You're not present. You're not showing up, listening, and seeing how you could help.
You might, and I want to piggyback that you might not be showing up and listening and helping in other areas of your life. Right, because if you're eating Chick-fil-A every day for lunch, if you're, if you're lackluster and you're lackadaisical in your approach, wearing flip-flops and shorts, to do business,
Bleeds over.
It bleeds into your team, and your team's going to start eating Chick-fil-A every day, and then guess what? You're going to have a slow team that's not healthy, it's not feeling good. So you have to have those healthy habits that become contagious. Right, healthy habits, exactly. And when you see me doing something, you want to do it. I see you doing something, I want to do it.
Interesting side note about that.
Yeah.
Again, going through all these shifts in my personal life, and I wasn't showing up properly in my life, and the family was suffering from it.
Yeah.
And I made these changes, and we keep saying magic, for lack of a better word, like magic, I started showing up differently, becoming a better man, becoming a leader, and all of a sudden, the kids start popping their heads out like, what's going on down here? My son Connor, he's 11 years old. He started a pressure washing business. And I'm like, this is fantastic, right? Let's do this right? We're going to get on the calendar to sit down, and we're going to create a strategic plan. We're going to account for every penny. We're going to actually set something up from the ground up, things that I've failed to do in my own life up until this point. I'm going to teach him. And it's just been really incredible to see that shift and that transition.
That's so cool. And sitting here as like another man, I love the fist bump. Sitting here as another man, I appreciate that because it is inspiring. It's contagious. It makes other people want to do that too. Oftentimes when people see something good, they don't care how you're doing it. They want in.
It's contagious.
Yeah. So how does that bleed into that? We're gonna kind of do two topics in this because I think we have about 4 or 5 more minutes. So how does that bleed into our next topic? I think it's consistency.
Consistency versus inspiration. This is a good one, dude.
Isn't it? And I think this works really well with mental.
Yeah.
Right message, wrong mental, wrong message, right mental. So to button that up just a moment ago, if you're not feeling like you're coming through authentically on your social, you feel like you're too tight. Switch it up before you do your content. Go for a run, go for a walk, watch a funny video, just do something to kind of psych yourself out and get back to that rookie mindset. Think of your top performer or your best teammates and emulate that so that they can emulate what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I noticed that today. I was going to make a video. I was not feeling great in the morning, and my head was cloudy, and I wanted to schedule a post at a certain time today. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to stress myself out over this. I'll wait until I have a little bit of inspiration. The problem with that is that if you're not doing the work and you're not disciplined and you're not, if you're not doing the work, you're not disciplined, and you're just waiting for the inspiration to come, it won't come. Mm-mm. But if you are putting in the effort, the inspiration just seems to happen randomly.
Actually, I'm going to throw something out there. You're going to get inspired. You're going to get the wrong inspiration.
Consistency, that's the word.
You're going to get the wrong inspiration. Right? You're going to get inspired and you're going to have this like chip on your shoulder inspiration. You're going to almost like feed into the negativity that you hear out there. You're going to doom and gloom scroll, right? You're going to take messages that you hear that might not be positive and you're going to pass them on to the people in your life, right? You see how that like positive and positive makes positive, but positive and negative makes negative. Negative and negative makes negative. There's no positive and negative that makes positive. It's just positive and positive. That's it. So when you inject the bad news or the doom and gloom or the doom scrolls or picking up the phone to the person who's going to sit there and complain about their day, you have to have the boundary and respect for the other person. You've never called me and complained about your day. If you did, I'd say, I hope you have a better day and let's keep it moving, right? But we talk about positive things when we get on the phone. So I would say that's excruciatingly important, right? For any kind of leader or coach is like, are you allowing the stuff that's around you to feed into your content, to feed into your marketing, right? I think that's an extremely important.
Speaking of negativity, I've always my whole life been a very negative person in terms of like worst case scenario, always going down rabbit holes, and obviously that didn't serve me well. What I've noticed lately, a little tip or trick, if you're struggling with negative thoughts and these thoughts pop up in your mind, what's helped me, it's a couple things really. One is, first, when you catch the thought, and you might not catch it right away, but once you practice this, you'll start catching yourself thinking negatively. Stop for a second.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's just a thought. It's not. It doesn't define you. And engage the thought. And I like to do this out loud if I can. Hopefully there's not people around. I don't seem crazy, but like I try to have like a conversation with myself about the thought. It's like, oh my God, this might happen. And you're like, huh, that's interesting. Why might that happen? Like, where are you coming? And the act of that conversation, it's so silly. A negative thought can't survive daylight. It can't survive laughter, and it just magically watch it go away. And I heard something on Jay Shetty's podcast the other day, even deeper than that, it's like when you get the negative thought, you're in an emotional state. You can't really think clearly. He said, you put a pin in it, and then when you're clear later, then think about the thought and see what it really was trying to tell you. And oftentimes it means nothing, but sometimes it might even be trying to tell you something about yourself and how you can grow.
Yeah.
And like use that to leverage your growth.
That is an excellent point. I mean, if there's a mic drop moment out of the 3 episodes that we've done so far, that's an absolute mic drop moment. I mean, people love Jay Shetty. He is excellent in his approach. And dude, you're being human. And I appreciate that so much because I am not the most positive person myself. I'm the guy who says, like, I'm real. Right? Because like sometimes in life, like you'll say things and other people might hear them as a negative emote. Because you're just real. Sometimes like this is just what life is and how it is and the things that we need to be understanding of. So I think when you put it out there, you could think the thought first and foremost. I think we inherently know if something is like negative or if we're like maybe having a good conversation with ourselves. And I think when you do what you're saying, you put it out there and you make it audible, you hear whether it's like seriously something like detrimental to your life or if it's something that could be worked out. I've heard the 5 minute, 5 day, 5 year rule. Have you heard of that?
No,
and I'm not going to quote it right. So you guys are going to have to share in the thing, but it's like, is the thing that I'm thinking the scenario, which 90% of scenarios I think don't even come to fruition anyway.
And we suffer.
Yeah, is it a 5 minute problem? Is it a 5 day problem? Or is it a 5 year problem? And the things that really deserve attention are 5 year problems, right? Because if I default on a mortgage, that's a 5 year problem. I'm going to be in a pretty bad situation. But if I'm upset because I got a $30 speeding ticket, that's maybe a 5 minute problem. I'm going to be able to pay the ticket and move on. If I know that I have to, I'm going to have to do something next week, that might be a 5 day problem. So you need to think of whether or not the negativity that's going through your head is a 5 minute, a 5 day, or a 5 year type of problem and address it that way.
And another thing is how you frame. I just think it's fascinating how the human mind works. Like the same inputs framed differently lead to totally different physiological responses on your body in terms of stress, negativity. Like some of these things will lead to disease and sickness and unconditional suffering and all that crap. And then the same inputs could lead to growth and development.
Does lead to. No, it does. Sorry, it does.
Oh, that's the old program running.
There you go, right?
and it's just fascinating, again, with these negative, like any adversity that you face. Like in the past, when I faced some kind of adversity, I would always just run away from it. I would crawl. I would say, "Oh, I'll deal with it later. I'll kick it down the road," and that would just feed that program, and it would just get worse and worse and worse. And what I found is that when I push through everything now, and it's happening every day, it's just like whatever comes up, not only pushing through it, but just framing it in my own mind in the moment. Like this is coming into my life to teach me a lesson. This is something that is going to help me grow. Lean into it, and watch the magic happen.
That's it. That's it.
Really,
I'll leave this. I think you did a good mic drop last one. I did the mic drop before that one. This will be my mic drop for this one. And I think people have already heard this reel out there. So I'm not sharing this as a reel, but it was like what a buffalo does. Like be a buffalo. I think what does a buffalo do? Buffaloes run into storms. Right? Cows run away from storms. Buffaloes run into storms. Why does a buffalo run into a storm? Because it knows the faster it goes into the storm, the faster it gets out.
I love that.
A cow, if it runs away, is going to be living in the storm, right? So we need to have the buffalo. I got goosebumps. We need to have the buffalo mentality, and we need to run into the storm. Yeah. So thank you for this episode. This is episode 3. I think we're moving into number 4 in just a moment. All of these are digestible. If you're watching this in a full format, you're just going to roll right into the next episode. If not, please listen to the first few and listen to the next few. And if this helps one person, that's what we're here to do.
It's worth it. Yeah. Everyone take care.
So this has been an incredible series. I have to say thank you for pushing this along. We even thought about the inconsistencies and how business owners think. We both had a pretty busy day, and we were concerned that maybe we wouldn't be able to do this, or you push it off for another time. But we both looked at each other. We said we can't. We can't push it off for another time.
Time is now.
Yeah, and we even got to a point where we were both kind of, you're going 100 miles an hour, and I'm going 100 miles an hour, and it's like, is everything good? Is everything going the right direction? But then we realized that's what it's going to take. to get through. And I mean, you were like, are you comfortable with this? And I'm asking you, are you comfortable? So communication is extremely important too. So hopefully you were able to watch the first few episodes. If this is a full episode, you're just rolling into the next episode. But we were talking about quite a few things. I mean, we've gotten into mindset, how it sets the ceiling, marketing as a mirror, the right message, wrong mental state, consistency versus inspiration. And now we're gonna round the corner with our series here. We're gonna talk about personal transformation and business growth. We are gonna tap a little bit into social media and authenticity. And then we're gonna talk about some practical takeaways and how top producers are applying this. So let's dive just right into it. I mean, you've been going through an incredible amount of transformation and growth and the stuff you've been doing. So how is this personal growth directly translated into clearer marketing, better storytelling, and stronger authority? Why that business is scaling sustainably?
So for me, it comes back to consistency and discipline and making a decision to go all in. I truly believe at the core of my being that every human being has within them the potential for greatness. We all have hidden potential. And unfortunately, so many people live their entire lives without tapping into that potential. And I was one of those people until recently.
A lot of us are, right? I mean,
and the more belief you have in yourself, and that doesn't come from just from faking it until you make it. You have to be disciplined. You have to do the work. You have to. For me, it was just getting up early and buying in. I'm doing a 31-day challenge right now. Just really putting the work in and showing up every day and making a commitment, even when I don't want to do it. This is important because I'm also working with my brother right now.
And you're a family man and you're doing so many life, right?
Yeah. And it's like everybody who's going through this growth and you always reach a roadblock. You always reach a point where you're just like, I don't want to do this. I can't do this anymore. And if you turn around there, that could be your defining moment, right? That one thing could propel you to greatness. That one thing. And that's why you always got to keep pushing forward. And that's translated into my business more than I could ever know. The insights that are coming, you mentioned ChatGPT earlier.
I mentioned ChatGPT? Me? I'm like human ChatGPT.
I've been using Chat for the magazine. I started using it not to write articles, but just to run for content.
So cool, right?
I've been using it, but I've just been scratching the surface. Yeah. And up until recently, I wasn't really using it properly. And what I found for me, and I'm telling this to everybody I talk to now, is that what's given me tremendous clarity. I've always been a person who looks at a task and my brain moves a mile a minute. And I look at the task and I say, all right, how do I get from A to Z as quickly as possible without reading all the steps in between? Is that you? Do you feel like that?
ChatGPT.
No, but don't do it for me. How do I do these things? It doesn't matter what the task is. And
do me a favor real quick. Anyone who's out there listening to this, comment below. What does GPT stand for? Don't Google. You can't Google. Don't Google GPT. What does GPT stand for? So while he's telling his story, I want to test.
I'm trying to think of a good acronym that I can think of. But yeah, always trying to get from A to Z. And then what happens is that when I try to actually dig into the steps, I get overwhelmed because I want to get to the end and I rush through it. And the more overwhelmed I get, the more confused I get, and I just abandon the task. So what I've learned to do with ChatGPT is a couple things. Is when I have a task, I just put it in my ear, and it's like, okay, I need to do this. Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Walk me through step by step by step. And it doesn't matter what the task is, it'll tell me what to do. And if I can't do that, I'm like, stop, go back. This didn't work. Where do I go now? And the more information you give it, the more useful it becomes. And so the way you set it up, that's been huge. Another thing has been I've always kept all this stuff, this junk stored in my head. And it's created so much brain fog. So now when I have a new idea, a new insight, whatever it is, it doesn't stay in my head anymore. I just speak it to Chat, right? It doesn't matter what it is. And it pulls it out and structures it and puts it in a way that makes sense. And I throw it into Google Drive, and then it's there as a reference. And guess what? It's not in my head anymore. I have more room for new insights and new ideas and new downloads. And the more you do that, the more insights come. It's like you're a channel.
That's it.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's been transformational.
So, I'm going to do something for the audience really quick that I hope is impactful. All right. Generative pre-trained transformer. Okay. These are built on large language models. Okay. Most people don't know what a large language model is. Think of it in terms of circles. So this is what I do when I have a board in front of me and I'll make circles. And like this circle is human grammar. This circle is law. This circle is real estate. This circle is finance. This circle is math. I won't go out, continue on the tangent. You get it. It takes all of these language models and puts them into one GPT, right? As they get bigger and better and evolve, all the programmer is simply doing is adding more language models to the process. So it's going into an archived processes that every human has done and is airtight. In other words, like if you're going to ask it semantical things, like how do you feel about the president of the United States, you're not going to get an answer. I have literally at the beginning of it, I have chat bias. And I have screen bias of this where you see how humans affect other humans. But if you're asking for an understanding, like you said, to understand physiology, to understand how my back is going, how I can rebound from this, how I could be have a healthier life, you're going to be tapping into language models. Tapping into it's human life as it exists, you know. So I don't want to get like super high level, but when you're prompting, it's important to tap into the different language models. In other words, like I have to explain to ChatGPT, I give it my full name, I give it my age. Oftentimes I tell it I'm a male, right? Like I needed to know who I am. Also, I might be working on Meta or Instagram, right? I get painfully specific. I tell them the type of reel or video I've created, and I tell them the message or the end consumer that I'm trying to reach. Now, it's going to go into a language model of English, a language model of grammar, a language model of social media, a language model of content, and it's going to turn it into one giant circle that all of these language models are built into. This might be high level in terms of a podcast, but I know there are people that are going to listen to this and be like, this dude is like spot on how these things work and how they generate.
It's fascinating.
It is. And once you learn how to prompt properly, it has been absolutely life-changing. Oh, yeah. I mean, we have integrated enterprise-level GPTs into businesses and corporations where we train them on the industry and model.
Wow.
And they're not becoming the salesperson. They're not replacing the marketing person. They're just like...
amplifying the human element.
100%. And
exponentially.
Right. Yeah, so like if I have bandwidth to respond to... This was early in my career. I had one of my clients reach out to... not early in the career, but early in ChatGPT's career, there was an email I got that was very specific, and I went off on the, all right, this is how I feel about the email, and I'm going to respond this way. This is how I'm typing, you know, and I get like a paragraph in, and I'm like, why am I typing like this? It's 9:30 in the morning. I just had a Celsius. I'm starting my day. I'm overwhelmed with emails, and this is the tone I'm going to put into the business owner I'm about to respond to, who literally was just asking a question. So I went to ChatGPT and I gave them the email, the context, and everything in between. It might have been one of the very first conversations I had. And it said, Michael, humans are more interested in creating problems or being right than they are in finding solution. So I kept telling you, well, I want to like stick it to them on like how I'm right. And by the end, it was able to show me how my own tone wasn't right. So you see how it created a better habit for me? It made me approach business a little differently. So next time I got that email, or like maybe my blood pressure went up, or I was like, how dare they? What did I do moving forward?
I
put it in the ChatGPT, and I was able to prompt it. I just had coffee. I'm going 100 miles an hour. I might not totally understand this. How should I respond? And now it tells me, well, I completely understand how you'd be having a fast-paced day or a tough day or a busy day. Let's slow it down and break it down, you know. And my goodness, and
if you're sorry to cut you off,
no, you're good.
If you're using AI properly, it allows you the opportunity to collaborate with all of human wisdom as a partner. Let that sit for a minute, right? And it's for my own place, or for where I'm at right now, it's increased my productivity at least 100-fold, maybe 1,000-fold. I don't even know at this point. And I'm just tipping the iceberg. While I've been using it, and I've been doing a lot of stuff, it's all started. It's like just the tip. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
How has GPT, and we're not having a GPT specific conversation, just so people know.
I get so excited about this stuff because I'm living it right now.
It's great. It really changes your life. You know, if you're using it proproperly. You know, they're all
not
different.
Having it do everything for you. Like, go write me this. Right. Using
without
it
giving
to organize your thoughts and your thinking and amplify yourself and your messaging as a human being.
That's it. That's this
because it doesn't have the human element.
You segued perfectly into. So how has the changes in your habits, changes in lifestyle, mental clarity, and having tools like ChatGPT at your disposal, how has this transformed you in social media or because we in our first episode we're talking about kind of approaching it with a scarcity model. We're kind of giving you the recipe on how to kind of feel better.
It just feeds into
What's the result?
It feeds into the confidence, the belief, the conviction, right? The purpose that I have. And when you're operating from that place, you come across as more authentic in your content.
Wow.
And that's good marketing. That's what resonates with people.
So we, like, in a roundabout way, like, it's going to be probably like an hour and a half video. We, like, in a roundabout way, gave you the blueprint on how to go from scarcity to abundance, right? We didn't tell you the exact roadmap. I mean, obviously, we'd have to dive into you personally as a person, things you do in your life.
Yep.
But it sounds like this is kind of giving the roadmap for it.
There's a roadmap, but it doesn't come cheap. There's a lot of work that you have to do. You have to do the deep, dark, ugly work on yourself. And so many people I talk to, business owners, everybody, they want instant gratification. We're set up for a society geared to all our kids today. Instant dopamine, instant gratification.
Yeah.
And good things come through effort, discipline. So there are no shortcuts. You could listen to this podcast and tap into some of these tricks and tips, but until you implement them in your life and create structure and live it, nothing will really change.
Yeah, and let me know if you agree. And what he's referencing in terms of like that it costs a lot to do this. He's talking about digital currency. He's talking about life currency. Yeah. He's talking about relationship currency. He's talking about the trade-off of it's not time and money. It's that if you find more success in your life and you're happier and you're healthier and you're doing well, the rest of that's a byproduct. And I know it sounds cheesy and 100%. Silly. It's not. It's not cheesy. I promise you. You know they say that like it's lonely at the top. It's lonely at the top because those are the only people that have that mindset. And it's very difficult to continue answering the phone or continue having conversations or entertaining conversations because you want the best for people. Yeah. And you want the best for human beings. And it's hard, it's painful to sit and listen to a person who is leading themselves to the area that they have gotten into. And then they want an answer for how they got there and don't realize that it's this model. So I'm going to point right at you. We're pointing, and I want to ask you, so if both of us are pointing right now, we're pointing, how many fingers are pointing back at us? Right? So, see, I'm going to turn it around. There are 3 fingers pointing at me right now. So when I point at you, I'm pointing one up at God because we got to give him some love for this, right, for these situations. But I'm pointing at you. But guess who's really to blame? The 3 other fingers that are coming back toward us. So we need to take the blame and stop pushing it on other people and putting it back on ourselves threefold. All right. So I know it's kind of preachy and a little, you know, it's preachy. I'll leave it at that. But it's real. Yeah,
it's real. And another thing I'll leave everyone with, it's stop blaming externalities for your situation. These are things that you cannot change. You don't have the ability to control other people. You don't have the ability to control events. The only thing that we can truly control, I tell this to my kids all the time, is ourselves. And once you start acting in the world this way, the things that you were trying to control, they start changing around you. It's good stuff. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Michael, thank you for allowing me to come in here in the studio. This has been really...
It's been absolutely incredible.
Really wonderful conversation.
I'll tell you, there are so many takeaways from what we spoke about here. So if you're watching the video in entirety, I'm sure you're gassed up. You probably want to run through a wall right now. But marketing doesn't create success. It amplifies what's already there. And when your mind is right, marketing becomes leverage, not resistance.
Beautifully said.
Okay. We're going to have a link below. Please follow the Good Neighbor podcast. Please feel free to follow me. I've created a community on School. We have almost 200 members. It's absolutely 100% free. We've got digital courses. This will probably be one that's on School. And you get to learn from other people that are successful within their industries. They might have the right mindset you're looking for, the healthy outlook you're looking for. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a takeaway there and something that helps you grow.
Absolutely, brother. And if you're a business owner out there and you're stuck, or maybe you're having an issue scaling, or maybe anything we were saying in this has resonated, right? Reach out anytime. I'm happy to have you on the Good Neighbor podcast platform to do an interview and get a taste of what this is all about. And if there's any way that we can help in any other way, let us know in the comments. We appreciate you coming with us on this journey, and we'll look forward to seeing you all next time on the next episode of the Good Neighbor podcast. Everyone take care. Stay blessed.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast, Cooper City. To nominate your favorite local business to be featured on the show, go to gnpcoopercity.com. That's gnpcoopercity.com, or call 954-231-3170.